Hello and welcome back. So most recently, I was kind of thinking over my earlier days of founding my first company. I was kind of putting myself back in the shoes of that girl who was so full of optimism, blind faith, ego, and lots of it, and this huge sense of entitlement when I decided to quit my job and hang out my shingles per se. And I look back and I'm amazed that I didn't really actually crash and burn because, I really didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I was just clear as to the fact that where I was in life and what I was doing in my career wasn't what was going to get me to where I wanted to be in life, but I wasn't really clear about where I wanted to be in life either. So it was a leap of faith when I decided to go about starting my business. So anyways, I was just kind of thinking about young Tiffany and about who I am today. And if I had a chance to go back and actually talk to her, what would I tell her? What advice would I bestow upon her so that she's at least aware of what's to come? I don't think I necessarily want to change the journey because I don't really regret anything that happened. I think that the last 10 years have been full of so much business experience and lessons learned for myself as a business owner and as a person that I wouldn't change any part of it. But it's always nice to be aware of at least what's to come, right? Even if you can't change it, it's kind of just nice to know what's to come. If you had a crystal ball, because the one thing about starting a business is that there's this huge sense of uncertainty, especially if you're a new business owner. I think I was just so riddled with the anxiety of not knowing what to expect that if I had got a visit from myself in the future to just be like, hey, it's not going to be easy, but at least this is what you can expect from what's going to occur for the next 10 years, I feel like it would at least put some of it, some of my anxiety at ease. The whole not knowing what you don't know and really just kind of blindly feeling your way through. So anyway, if I had a chance to really just go back and talk to my younger self, I think there's a few things that I would let her know. All right, lesson number 1. Fail fast, fail hard, and fail forward. This is probably such a cliche statement to actually make, but for my younger self, I was very much a perfectionist. I'm still a perfectionist now, but a little bit in a different way, whereas I kind of use my perfectionism to make sure that I don't cut myself any slack from doing any prep work that I can do before I need to do something. And that has helped me immensely. But when I was younger, my perfectionist syndrome was a little bit without direction, where I definitely felt like I needed to get everything 100% in place in order for me to pull the trigger on any action. And that's just not realistic when it comes to business. And honestly, it just doesn't make you grow fast enough. The way I do it now is that if I'm prepared about 60-70% of the way, prepared meaning that I did all my research, I calculated all the risk, I thought through kind of the plan and what's going to look like and decide to still go forward with it, I would pull the trigger when I'm 60-70% ready. I wouldn't wait for 100% and certainly not 110%. I wouldn't wait until I'm overly prepared before I actually go for it, because there's something about starting a momentum in something, whereas it'll kind of give you the experience and it'll kind of give you the problems a little faster and a little sooner. And as long as you can be agile and pivot and address those problems as they come up, you'll be able to kind of just progress a lot faster once that momentum starts. And so even if you try to prepare 100%, if it's something that you've never done before, there's only so much that you can actually prepare for and watch out for and look for. It's much better just to learn it from real hands-on experience. So like I said, go about 60-70% ready and then pull the trigger and just go for it. Lesson number 2, you are in far less control than you really think you are. When I was younger, I probably with the perfectionist syndrome and everything like that, felt like that I needed to be in control of everything, because that was my response to living in this realm of uncertainty that all of us business owners live in, especially if you're a first-time business owner, because there's so much that you don't know what you don't know, and you know that you don't know what you don't know. So it just kind of creates this whole atmosphere and environment of uncertainty, which could be incredibly anxiety-inducing. My response to that when I was younger was really try to just control more. And the thing is, a lot of that control is perceived. There's a lot of things I couldn't control and I thought I could. For example, like with my employees, right? I can lay down the best aspect of training, culture, whatever the case may be, and create this amazing employee experience. But like, I have no control if my best employee has like a personal life change that requires them to move out of state and quit their job. Other things, like same thing on the flip side with customers. I can create an amazing customer experience, but there's nothing to stop them from, going bankrupt and closing their doors and basically disengaging with us, and I lose that revenue stream. And so a lot of this control that I had as a younger business owner was really just perceived. And if anything, it probably just caused me more stress because, I was just focused on the wrong things. There's no point of being focused on trying to control things that you really have no control over and you just think you do. It's better to just kind of relax in knowing that there's going to be a certain amount of uncertainty and unexpected problems and issues that's going to arise with everything. And it's better to just have faith in the fact that you are equipped to be able to address those things. If not, you'll figure it out. And once I kind of hit that stride, things came to me a lot easier because I wasn't spending all my time and energy kind of being freaked out about things that, like I said, was really out of my control. I actually took that time and energy and actually spent it on things that was worthwhile, that would actually move me and my business forward. The other thing I would tell myself is to get ready and strap in for the roller coaster ride that comes with hiring people. Now, I did not know how to hire people. I didn't really even know how to manage people. And so when I made the decision to actually add employees, like full-time W employees, into my business to help me grow my business, I had no idea what in the world I was getting myself into. I completely underestimated how hard it is, and I went through a lot of hard lessons learned. Like, I fell flat on my face so many times. And when you're dealing with people, you're also dealing with emotions. And especially if you're dealing with people who you hired full time, because that meant that I was basically their sole income. Like, I was the one that provided them their livelihood. Like, it still blows my mind to this day that I had that much responsibility. It's not one that I took lightly. I definitely felt the heaviness of that responsibility. I learned so much about myself as a person, about skills of how to manage, of how to hire, how to recruit, how to actually grow a company culture, and all those skill sets that I am so glad I have today. But I will not lie to my younger self and say that any of it was easy. It was definitely lessons I needed to learn, but I don't think I was prepared for how hard it was to get it right? To understand how that works. And the one thing I will say is that when I started hiring people who were not only smarter than me, but had more experience than I did, like, that brought things to a whole new level. Like, trying to hire people who have more experience than you and managing them is very different than hiring people who maybe have 1 or 2 years of experience in industry or entry level or just kind of a little bit newer to their careers. It's a whole different ballgame when you hire people who have more experience than you. And so I would never tell myself not to do it. I still think it was a great decision to do what I did, but certainly I kind of wish I had a little bit of a heads up as to how difficult that journey ended up being. Okay, the other thing I would tell myself is that you don't have to go about it alone. And in fact, your growth will probably double if you didn't try to go about it alone. You see, I had this weird, crazy notion. Then again, it wasn't so weird and crazy when I actually had it. I think now looking back, I feel like it's weird and crazy. Whereas I felt like I had to do it all myself. Like, I had to figure it out myself for it to be mine. And if I reached out for help or asked for help, like if I sought out a advisor, or if I sought out a business coach, to me, it was a sign of weakness in my character and my ability and just being a business owner. So I felt like I had to do it on my own, which probably closed my eyes to a lot of opportunities that came my way where I would have been able to connect with those that maybe would have pointed out some of these things I'm telling myself now a little bit sooner in my journey. And I'm not really sure where that notion kind of took place. The only thing I could think of is that I remember back in college, like I took a Econ 101 class or something like that. And being a student that has always been like honor classes and always gotten A's and B's on everything, I remember getting my first test back and I think I got a 23 on it. And I absolutely almost flipped out because it was like 23 out of 100. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what happened? And first of all, the class average was about like 30. So it wasn't exactly like everybody was doing that stellar on it. But I think for me individually, I kind of just internalized that as in like, how could I possibly fail something like this? And after a couple more quizzes and a couple more tests where, again, like I think my, next grade up probably improved by like 5 points. So I was like at a whole like 28 out of 100, I finally kind of reached out to like a tutor that was part of our school and said, I absolutely need a tutor. Like I can't fail this class. This is like a required course. So I don't know what I'm not doing right, but I don't get it. And I remember just feeling so embarrassed the fact that I needed to find a tutor to actually help me pass this class. The thing is, the tutor did an amazing job. Like somehow he explained like macroeconomics to me in a way that I actually understood it. And then of course, I started doing better on the test. Like I didn't get an A in the class by any means, but I think I got a solid B by the end of the semester, which, hey, I passed, I'll take it. But I do remember feeling really strongly about the fact that I actually had to go ask for help and how like that was such a sign of weakness. And today, in my infinite wisdom, I definitely don't think it's a sign of weakness anymore. I think that finding somebody to help you is only one piece of the puzzle. It's only like a tool in your tool belt. It doesn't mean that they end up owning your success, that they were only a small part of. And as an entrepreneur and as a small business owner, you really need a support network. You need people that you can strategically pull in. You need people that you can rely on. You need people to prop you up and support you. And you won't find, I believe, you won't find a successful business owner who can say that they did it all on their own and they didn't need any kind of mentorship or advisory help along the way. And so that's the one thing I would tell myself is really just, at some point you'll learn to kind of let go of that notion. And when you do, you'll find that you'll be enjoying your journey as a small business owner so much more because you decided that you don't want to be doing it alone. All right, the last thing I would tell my younger self is the fact that you are not entitled to success. Now, it's insane now that I think about it, how entitled I felt when I was younger to just success, like just doing a good job without actually putting the work in to do the good job. Now, it doesn't mean that I wasn't a hard worker. I did work a lot, but the thing is, it was the idea of the fact that I felt like I was able to quantify my own hard work, and that if I deemed it as hard enough, then I should experience success. Like there's no reason why I shouldn't. And so, of course, it didn't happen that way. And there was a lot of time I spent really just kind of like beating myself up or going around in circles in my head as to like, why didn't I get this? Like, why didn't I win this contract? Or why didn't I win over this customer? Or like, why isn't my business bigger than it is today? And that's because, again, I had this notion that like, oh, I've worked really hard, so I deserve this. I should have gotten this. And that's not how success works. Success works because you did the right thing at the right time in the right place. It's not just you and what you quantify to be hard work. It is a lot of things that come together. And so the only job that you have as a business owner is to really pound that pavement until you get to the success that you are aiming for. So that means, getting the 99 no's before you get the one yes, or the 999 no's before you get to the one yes, or the 999,000 no's until you get to the one yes. It doesn't matter. Your sole job is to keep going until you get that one yes. And it doesn't matter what you think is hard work. Success doesn't come just because you want it or desire it or wish for it. Success comes when it comes, and success comes when, again, you're doing the right thing in the right place at the right time. All right, I am going to leave it there with you today. It's been fun kind of thinking about the advice I'm going to give to my younger self, and hopefully some of these pieces of advice was helpful to you too. Maybe you're somebody who is a little frustrated with your business and yourself today. Maybe you're somebody who's even thinking about quitting, or you're somebody who's thinking about jumping in. all I can say is keep moving forward, keep pushing through it. And if you haven't jumped in yet, you should definitely jump in. I don't regret anything I did in the last 10 years. The journey that I had definitely made me who I am today. And I know that the journey that you're about to go on, or you already are on, is going to make you the person you need to be to get to the success that you want. So hang in there. Thank you again for sticking it out with me, and I will see you on the next video.